What's up, guys? Stas here. So I want to go over 3 stocks that, in my opinion, have potential to squeeze to the motherland. Whether it's this week, next week, the week after, I have no idea. But I want to break down these 3 stocks that have very high short interest. And I also want to break down what the markets have been doing so far today. And let me tell you, it's not looking so great. So if you guys find value, hit the like button, subscribe, check out my Patreon down below if you want all my buy, sells, call outs, morning update videos, plus more. And you guys can get $50 free from M1 Finance by simply using my link, depositing $100, and that's also linked right down below. So let's get into it. Right now, it's 1:25 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's pretty much a bloodbath. It's pretty much a bloodbath at this point. We have the Nasdaq and the Russell down about 1%, the S&P's down 0.5%, and we have the Dow down about 0.4 roughly percent, with gold and silver doing pretty well. Gold's up 0.9%, silver's up close to 2%, on the back of that crazy October CPI number that we got this morning. And I did cover that in my video from earlier today, the morning video, which I typically make only for the Patreon members, but I decided to upload it to YouTube today. So check that out if you guys do want to see the CPI data and kind of my take on that. And at this point, SPY and QQQ are holding on to the 50 moving average on the 4-hour chart. Both of them, they're pretty much holding on by a thread, guys. At this point, I think if we break that 50 SMA on SPY at 464, 465, there's a pretty decent gap to the downside that we could see. I mean, this could fall down to about 448, 450, right around the 180 SMA here. And for QQQ, let's take a look at that. It's holding on by a thread as well. It's actually slowly falling under the 50 SMA now. And this also has a pretty big gap to the downside that could fill anywhere from 375, 380, right around the 180 SMA here. I think that is where QQQ honestly could end up going. So that's a quick little breakdown. If you guys want a further breakdown, make sure to subscribe, because we are going to go over this in my next video today, my night video, where we dive into the markets more in depth. We go over news, stocks, earnings, all that good stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe. And now let's talk about these stocks. And if you stick till the end, I'm going to do a bonus one. And before we even do that, I made a 3 stocks about the squeeze video last week, and the bonus one from last week did the best out of all of those stocks. The bonus one, if you guys remember, was ticker symbol AGC. That is Altimeter Growth Corporation. We called it out when it was at about $12, and it ended up squeezing, I believe, when was this? Yesterday. It went ballistic. It consolidated a bit after that video, and then it hit 12, and then it ripped all the way to 16. Now it's back to 14, and from what I saw, they still have a pretty high short interest. So this one, even though it already ran up about 25-30%, it could just be getting started, quite honestly. There could be more upside. So watch out for AGC. And now let's dive into the ones for this week's video. Blink is number 1, BLNK. This one's currently down 6% on the day, but that's on the back of a couple of nice days it had last week, and I believe 2 days ago. You guys can see here, Blink was $29-30 last week in the actually that was 2 weeks ago, in the end of October, and then it ran to about $34-35, pulled back to about 31. Then we got news about the infrastructure bill, and this went from $31 to $40 ultimately, or essentially rather, overnight. $30 to $40. That was a 25% pop. And now we're getting, which doesn't really surprise me, we're getting a bit of profit taking. Right now we're pulling back. Like I said, we're down 6% on the day, and it seems like we're holding the 50 SMA as support right now on the 4-hour chart, and we're still clearly breaking out. We're just simply pulling back within the breakout. So with the infrastructure bill, this having a 35% short interest for my little digging here where I found it, in terms of what I saw, 35% short interest. This could be a dip buy, for the next big pop to 40, 45 bucks. I really do believe that. And they have earnings coming up tomorrow after market hours on the 11th of November, which that's probably going to, make it move a bit. So keep your eyes on Blink, BLNK. The next one here, which is one that I never really talk about. I don't know if I've ever talked about this stock before on my YouTube channel. It is iRobot, IRBT. They just reported earnings recently, and they actually had a pretty good past quarter. They did $1.67 EPS versus 70 cents, and that's an obvious beat right there. And they also beat revenue. Revenue came in at $440.7 million versus $417.04 million. So double beat for iRobot. And on top of that, they have a fairly high short interest. Not as high as Blink. Blink at 35%. iRobot has almost 26%. Still fairly high, and it seems like after they reported those earnings, the stock has been breaking trend, which is good. And by breaking trend, I mean it's been breaking the downtrend. Very good sign. I mean, this stock was 134 bucks back in March. It got all the way down to 77. Just recently in the end of October. So it had a 7-month drought pretty much. Lower lows, lower highs, under the moving averages. But now that they reported pretty decent earnings, this stock has been ripping. It went from 77 to almost 100. That was a move of about 20-25% in a couple of days. Now we've pulled back a bit to 88. Now we're back over 90. Currently, as I'm watching the stock and I'm filming this video, the stock's almost up 2%. Looks like buyers are stepping in right by the moving averages to push this thing higher. So I think this breakout is sustainable. I think we could end up hitting 100, going 100 plus, and maybe making a bigger move from there. So keep your eyes out on iRobot. And the next one is SKLZ. They also just reported earnings. They didn't have the best quarter, quite honestly. They actually had a double miss, and the sales guidance was right in line. So not the best quarter, but one thing that stood out to me, and I always like seeing this for the big guys within the company and gals, make big purchases of their own stock, because they're essentially putting their money where their mouth is in a way. They actually believe the stock is undervalued, the business is great, and so forth. So they're actually buying shares. That shows us, the public, shareholders as well, hey, they actually believe in the company. So recently, the CEO just bought around 432,000 shares of Skills at an average share price of $11.50. So that's pretty big, guys. That's a big sign that this stock is very beaten down, and the management still believes in it, and they still think there's future potential and there's upside, right? That's what they truly believe. Now, does that mean the stock's for sure going to go up now? Not really, but it just shows the confidence of the management team and especially the CEO. So this was $46 back in the beginning of this year. I mean, that's crazy considering it went from $46 to $7 a share. Wow, that's just crazy. That's an 85% drop, guys. So Skills at this point, we're seeing some positive signs, catalyst with the CEO buying, and I'm noticing on the technical side, an inverse head and shoulders, very clear inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder head, right shoulder. We've been trading above the moving averages ever since that earnings report, and even before the earnings report. And at this point in time, I have my alert set at 1350, because I think if that point breaks, right, which was the high point from the beginning towards the middle of September, if that breaks, and also that was resistance about a week ago for the past week in general, if 1350 breaks, this is probably going towards 20 again, at least into the high teens, anywhere from 17, 18, again, 20. That is where it could be going, because that's the next major gap that I'm personally seeing here. So set your alerts on Skills, iRobot, Blink, and if you guys stuck till the end of the video, let me know. Hit the like button as well if you haven't done so already, because we're going to go over one bonus one here, which is a very small company, at least by today's standards. $800 million market cap. It's a Bitcoin mining business, ticker symbol BTBT. And admittedly, I don't know much about the fundamentals of this, but what I do know is it has a super high short interest in the 20-30% range. And like Skills, this one's also seeing an inverse head and shoulders, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we're trading above the moving averages. And if this pattern were to play out, we're talking about a double up from here, from $11.80, $12 towards $20, $22 per share, which was the high point from the end of, actually more towards the beginning of August. So you guys got to look out for these. And full disclosure, these are very risky. You guys have to understand this might not happen. We might not see the squeezes, but they're worth watching if you have a speculative portion of your portfolio that you want to, have some fun with. And that's kind of how I'm viewing these, and I'm only putting money in that I'm willing to lose. And you guys can see BTBT went from $4 to 20. Talk about a crazy move. So maybe we're going to see another one like that, another move like that. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Drop me a comment down below. Make sure to hit the like button as well and subscribe to the channel if you do want to see further content from me. And check out my Patreon if you want my real-time buys, sells, call-outs, morning update videos, plus more. All of that's on Patreon, link down below. Or you guys can go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon. Make sure to also get your $50 from M1 Finance, your 2 stocks from Webull, up to $1,600, also linked down below. And that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you want to see my thoughts on the CPI data, click up here. You'll see it there. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Again, as always, keep crushing the markets. Stay safe out there. Peace out.